Oh, he's heavy. You don't want to try and hold it.
It's so cute.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome to my dinosaur park. Okay, enjoy it.
Jurassic Quest, colossal, fantastic, dinosaurs is Jurassic Quest. What you're looking at is the Triassic period. The Triassic started about 251 million years ago at the end of another period that we call the Permian. One of the earliest dinosaurs that we know of was Eoraptor. Its name means dawn thief because it lived at the dawn of the age of dinosaurs. A predator known as Herrerasaurus. Herrerasaurus is the name of one of the largest predatory dinosaurs that lived in the Triassic period. It lived in what is now Argentina about 231 million years ago.
Hey there, folks, this is Safari Sarah. The Triassic period was the dawn of the age of dinosaurs, but it too had to come to an end. Just a little over 200 million years ago, the Earth encountered another mass extinction. Believed to be caused by an increased period of volcanic activity, it caused the extinction of roughly 70% of life on Earth. This wiped out a lot of bigger animals at the time.
Deep into the Jurassic Ocean. The big shell you see is an ammonite. Ammonites are cephalopods. That means they are relatives of the squid, octopus, and nautilus. Cross or more. The animal that looks kind of like a small dolphin is an Ichthyosaurus. That name means fish lizard. It's an aquatic reptile, not a mammal, so it isn't related to dolphins at all. We can't forget about the small, long-necked animal swimming with it. That's a plesiosaurus, another important part of this ecosystem. As a wise man once said, there's always a bigger fish. The big critter here is the magical Leopleuridon. Leopleuridon was a member of the pliosaur family, which is a kind of short-necked plesiosaur. It's important to point out that the animals you see here are not dinosaurs, but reptiles that lived in the ocean at the same time as the dinosaurs.
Inside of your vehicle is where we keep our Dilophosaurus. Dilophosaurus was a predator from the very beginning of the Jurassic period, around 200 million years ago. Now, a lot of people have ideas of Dilophosaurus spitting poison or venom or acid, and a lot of the pictures and toys show them with a big frill around their neck. Well, unfortunately, the movies that this idea comes from used what we call artistic license. The dinosaur here covered in plates. If you said Stegosaurus, you're right. Stegosaurus is a Jurassic plant eater whose back, neck, and tail were covered in bony plates. Stegosaurus had a special weapon. Along its tail, it had a set of spikes called a thagomizer that it would use to defend itself from predators. And the predator it had to worry about the most was Allosaurus. T-Rex isn't the only scary meat-eating dinosaur we have here at Jurassic Quest. Allosaurus was one of the larger predators around in the late Jurassic. Allosaurus had long arms for a theropod with big, hooked claws. These could help it grip onto its prey while it used its serrated teeth as its primary weapon. We know it used its arms because scientists have found signs of microscopic stress fractures on the bones of their forearms. Long-necked dinosaur in this scene is Apatosaurus. Apatosaurus is what we call a sauropod, or a long-necked dinosaur. Sauropods were the biggest animals to ever walk on Earth. In order to get that big, sauropods had to eat all the time. To eat even more, these long-necked giants didn't even waste time chewing, but swallowed the leaves from trees whole. But they had a special trick to help them digest their food. Sauropods would sometimes crane their long necks down to the ground and swallow small stones.
In what is now England during the early Cretaceous, roughly 120 million years ago. The duck-billed dinosaur you see is what we call an Iguanodon, and it's one of the first dinosaurs to be discovered and named. Some of you might have already guessed that Iguanodon means iguana tooth. The animal it's next to is Baryonyx. Baryonyx was a carnivore, and specifically, it ate fish. We know that it ate fish because when the first Baryonyx skeleton was found in England in the 1980s, it had fossilized fish bones and fish scales inside of its belly, along with a few bones from a young Iguanodon. Since it lived in what is now England, as one of its last meals was fish, this could be the earliest evidence of anyone in the UK ordering fish and chips.
The big dino you see here is Utahraptor, the feathered tyrant. Utahraptor is part of the Tyrannosauridae family. That means it's a relative of the T-Rex. Utahraptor lived in the Liaoning province of China. What makes Utahraptor special is that it is the largest dinosaur that we know of with feathers. We know that Utahraptor had feathers because of where and when it lived. About 120 million years ago, a volcanic eruption blanketed much of the Liaoning province with hot ash. Like what
The furry guy is Utahraptor. Now let's see, can anyone guess where Utahraptor was discovered? That's right, Cincinnati. Just kidding, folks. Utahraptor was found in Utah. Utahraptor is the largest known member of the raptor family. Now behind him is a predator named Ceats. Ceats was a massive predator that lived at the end of the early Cretaceous. Very little is known about Ceats due to how recent of a discovery it is. But it is thought to be a member of the Allosauridae group that lived into the early Cretaceous. Ceats lived in North America at about the same time as some members of the Tyrannosaur family. But those Tyrannosaurs didn't get any larger than about the size of a Great Dane because the alpha predator role had already been filled by Ceats.
Takes us to the continent of Africa in the early Cretaceous period. The dinosaur standing here is one that I bet a lot of you know. Can you guess what it is? Did you say Spinosaurus? You got it! Spinosaurus is one of the largest carnivores to ever walk the earth. But it mostly ate fish. We know that because Spinosaurus's teeth have been found embedded in fossilized bones of a large fish.
The first creature here is the long-necked Elasmosaurus. It's a relative of the Plesiosaurus, but much bigger. Second is Archelon, the biggest sea turtle known to exist. It had a leathery shell called a carapace, and just like sea turtles today, it probably laid eggs on land. The huge, fearsome creature is Tylosaurus. A relative of Mosasaurus, its name means the knob lizard because of a bony protrusion on the end of its snout that might have been used to ram into its prey. Tylosaurus is a member of the Squamata family. That's the group of reptiles that includes lizards and snakes. Looks like a cross between a piranha and a tuna is Xiphactinus. Xiphactinus was a voracious predator that lived in the oceans all over the world. It could reach lengths of up to 20 feet long.
Back to Asia, in late Cretaceous period. Here we have three kinds of dinosaurs from Mongolia, starting with Velociraptor. Despite what you may have seen in movies, Velociraptor is not 6 feet tall, but actually about 3 feet tall, 6 feet long, and about 20 to 30 pounds. Just think of an extra scary turkey. We also know that at least one Velociraptor attacked a Protoceratops, the next dinosaur in this scene. This is thanks to the fossil of a Velociraptor and Protoceratops found, who died still locked in combat. The Protoceratops broke the Velociraptor's arm with its powerful beak, moments before they were both buried in sand by a landslide. The other dinosaur in the scene, Oviraptor, has an unfortunate name, meaning egg thief. When this dinosaur was discovered, it was found over a nest of eggs thought to belong to Protoceratops. After later research, scientists realized it was sitting on a nest of its own eggs. But the name stuck and is still debated if Oviraptor actually ate eggs.
The claws on its hands could grow up to 3 feet long, making them the longest claws in the animal kingdom. Most of what we know about Therazinosaurus comes from animals closely related to it. The only fossils we have of this animal are its shoulders, arms, and hands. It is believed to be an herbivore, but we are still looking for more fossils to know for sure. The Lorotitan lived in what is now eastern Russia. It's in a special group of duck-billed dinosaurs called Lambeosaurs, which are famous for the elaborate crests on their heads.
Theme, you see Chiantrosaurus. Chiantrosaurus is a tyrannosaur from China and is closely related to Allosaurus from Mongolia. Both have awfully long, narrow noses for members of the tyrannosaur family. We're not sure what those noses may have been used for. Maybe to cut through water, making them faster, more accurate fishermen, or maybe they were specializing in smaller, faster prey, not needing the powerful bite of a T-Rex.
Now we travel to Argentina. The big animal you see in this scene is Giganotosaurus, arguably one of the largest meat-eating dinosaurs. And the scene is Carnotaurus, which means meat-eating bull, because of peculiar horns on its head. It might have used its horns as a weapon against other predators. It's a very funny-looking dinosaur, not just because of the horns, but because of its tiny little arms. Carnotaurus has one of the smallest arms of any known dinosaur.
Build Dynasty. The dinosaur with the long crest on the back of its head is called Parasaurolophus. Parasaurolophus is a hadrosaur, a family of dinosaurs sometimes called duck-billed dinosaurs because of the shape of their snouts. Other hadrosaurs include Iguanodon, Tyrannosaurus, Lorotitan, and Edmontosaurus, among many others. Parasaurolophus is a cool dinosaur because it's one of the few dinosaurs where we know what they might have sounded like. Paleontologists discovered that by looking at the crest on its head. What they found were tubes inside going back and forth between the nasal passage and the throat. When they recreated blowing air through their tubes, they discovered that the crest would have made a horn sound. The new script here just says make horn sounds.
Is the largest flying animal to ever take to the sky. It lived in what's now Texas because everything is bigger in Texas.
The big carnivore in here is Albertosaurus. Albertosaurus is a close relative of T-Rex, roughly half the size of a fully grown T-Rex. Albertosaurus is named after the Canadian province of Alberta, where almost all of the remains of Albertosaurus have been found. This makes Albertosaurus a Canadian dinosaur, named after a Mesopotamian bird demon. It is a large North American oviraptorid found in the Hell Creek Formation of South Dakota and had a beak with no teeth. Anzu is relatively a new discovery, and scientists are still trying to learn more about this creature.
In this scene, we have a group of dinosaurs called Ceratopsians, or horned-faced dinosaurs. The ones in this scene include Titanoceratops, Cosmoceratops, Styracosaurus, and Brachyceratops. Now, there are two families of ceratopsians, Chasmosaurines and Centrosaurines. Now, Chasmosaurines have two prominent eye horns above their eyes and a very large frill. Centrosaurines do not typically have prominent eye horns and tend to have smaller frills, but sometimes they have some rather ornate horns coming out of those frills.
This armored dinosaur is Ankylosaurus, also known as fused lizard. Ankylosaurus was armored from head to toe, with bits of bones on their skin called osteoderms. They are known for having a bony club tail, which was used to swing back and forth as a weapon to deter predators. Scientists have even found a T-Rex fossil with a broken leg that was shattered at about the same height as an Ankylosaurus tail club. This suggests that Ankylosaurus could fight off a T-Rex and possibly even win. The animal here is a Pachycephalosaurus, meaning thick-headed lizard, named after its thick, domed skull. It is often depicted as being used to headbutt each other for dominance, but some Dracorex hogwartsia. And if that sounds like something from a Harry Potter book, that's because it's from a Harry Potter book. The name actually means Dragon King of Hogwarts, because its skull looked a lot like the skull of a dragon. There are some who think that as this dinosaur aged, the shape of its skull changed, and that what we're really seeing here is a juvenile Pachycephalosaurus.
And finally, here at my favorite dinosaur, the Triceratops. The cool thing about Triceratops... No! The last T-Rex is in with the Triceratops' pen, and he's eating the Triceratops! Oh no, folks, this is terrible! That's my favorite Triceratops! Lisa, we've located the missing T-Rex! Lisa, do you copy? Oh no, this is terrible!
Megalodon. Megalodon is the largest shark to ever swim the seas. It is believed to reach up to 60 feet in length and had rows of hundreds of teeth. These teeth would sometimes fall out and be replaced with new teeth, similar to sharks today. Megalodon teeth have been found on every continent, including Antarctica. For centuries, these teeth were thought to be the petrified tongues of dragons and sea serpents.